Live. I am Anubix. I'm Anubix. We are live, episode 8. I'm going to pass it to my left. Go ahead, Jesse.
If I make sure I hit the right button to unmute. Guys, I'm Jesse, aka Serd. Hi. I'm Michael.
Yep, I'm Michael Gaucher at michaelgaucher.com and my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Michael where I talk about a whole range of things.
Word up, my name's Felix, aka Don Trabajo. You can catch me proxoffensive.com, proxoffensive.com. You got all my links there. We're about that red team.
Nice. So happy to have you, Felix, and everybody else back. We're just going to jump right into it. First and foremost, I know you guys heard us talk about the Busy Bar. Looks like they're dropping pre-order next week on the 14th. So just wanted to kind of do a round robin real quick and see if anybody heard about it, what their thought about, if they're going to pick one up or they're going to, bypass it. Me, myself, I'm probably going to get one. And they said a week or so ago, it's going to be open source as well. So regardless of the outcome, we'll still be able to get that source code. So I'll pass it to, go ahead, sir.
I know when it was originally announced, I don't believe it was supposed to be open source. So I didn't have much interest in it, but maybe now that it's open source. But I think that I'd rather try to build one myself or recreate the process behind it than pay for it personally. 'Cause with Pis and Arduinos, you can do a lot nowadays.
No doubt. So is this the deal that the Flipper crew was putting out?
Yep.
Hit me out with a couple of more details about that.
I just took it down. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it back up. So basically, the way they're marketing it, it's a productivity multi-tool.
Okay.
It deals a lot with smart home support, IoT stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Okay.
I mean, it's not amazing, but I know the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't know what the use case would be for this, but I think grabbing it more to kind of like break it apart and see what I can do with it. And then again, to like Serge's point, just kind of create it from scratch if it is going to be open source, and then use some other piece of hardware as a host. But yeah, it's a productivity tool.
I'm kind of looking at it from the same perspective as like the Flipper, because I got a Flipper and then after I got it, I was like, well, this does a lot of things okay-ish. It doesn't do anything great. You can spend time and a little bit of effort and build something that does everything better than a Flipper. It's just the fact that the Flipper's accessible.
I was
Michael, you looking into it?
Yeah, Mike.
You looking really serious over there.
Yeah, I mean, it does look pretty engaging for, I would say, today's audience, using Python and other languages like that. And the concept of the LEDs that goes back a long ways in terms of like being able to verify if the modifications you're making are having any type of impact on the device, right? And this just takes it up to a different level where you can apply more applications to it without having to build everything from scratch like you did back in the past. So I could see some application for this. I still think that there's more to be gained from some of the predecessors to this in terms of the depth of understanding and learning. But I think this is going to be much more of you'd say a gradual or easy transition for those that want to get involved in this space.
Sounds like it's the exact same thing they did with the flipper. Straight up, they just got their mode on lock, and they're gonna keep on riding it through because that's almost word for word, but like put towards a pen testing angle with the flipper. So because I mean there is a whole lot more you can do for sure, even with that device. So if they're just going along with the same, you know, matrix, then it sounds like that's what's up. I saw some other stuff they were doing too, where it was oh, you got the trend going around now of people like making their own little like terminals, like their own little I forgot what they called them, but it was like a deck. Yeah, like a cyber deck. Yeah, no, yeah, I know we got the boards, but they're doing them all full stylized. Like there were a lot of even like ladies out there that would make like cyber decks that were more like aesthetically pleasing, and be able to do basic things with it. I think they're putting out one of those too. I don't know, they just seem to really
Flipper One.
say that again, brother.
It's the Flipper One.
Oh, okay.
That's
I'm gonna go
their
ahead.
cyber deck variation that's, I think, still in development.
Word. Well, they got something going, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's basically a mini Linux box. A little bit bigger than the Flipper Zero, but not too. I mean, it's extremely small, but yeah, we'll see if it gets to that point, man. I'm super excited about that. I will say, I just don't think for what they're trying to pack into that little thing. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah. Other than that, and we were talking about conferences, so I kind of want to like jump on that real quick. In regards to what are some things that you've seen at some conferences that has changed since like last year and this year, so to speak? Because I feel like, in my perspective, the AI talk was last year was very scarce in a sense. Like we heard about it at DEF CON, Black Hat, the bigger cons, but it wasn't so much like those weren't things that you would really hear so much about in like the smaller B-sides and stuff of that nature. Do you see that changing now more so this year?
So I actually have input on this. So something that I noticed last year was a lot of the AI talks was more towards like the concept of these frontier security models being fear marketing. So like everybody for a while thought Anthropic Mythos was just them trying to get investors or overhyping their claims, but now we've actually have numbers and multiple like government organizations and everything coming out and showing us that it wasn't just hype. They're actually that capable. And I think a lot of the talks are steering that direction. Also noticed there was this year, especially at Hack Space, there was more defensive talks on how to lock down your own internal AIs. I think there was even a vendor there for, I can't remember the company they were doing the defensive AI that Blind was looking at they were gating AI.
I haven't hit up the cons as much this year as I have in the past, but a lot of that has to do with how much things are changing right now and how effective these models are in our profession in cybersecurity anyway. Because they're mad good, man. They're mad good. You could parse through so much stuff so quickly and it just picks things out, especially if you got it attached to any kind of knowledge base that you've built up over time as a pen tester. I mean, you got all kinds of knowledge. You got books and books and PDFs and like all kinds of stuff built up over time. You just point it at that and boom, it just starts putting the things together. And it's like, wow, man, this is going places. And then, they just released a new one. So I imagine that it's just, I mean, it's taken over all the discourse everywhere. So at this point, I'm kind of at a point with cons where I'm just like, all right, I think everybody at this point is just trying, nobody knows what's happening. Everybody's got ideas and everybody's got their own like pro perspective that they're actually most likely qualified to talk about and very educated on. But on a whole, man, it's so crazy. So yeah, I mean, I would still think that going to cons and listening to those discussions would be great, but I would also go to those understanding that as a participant, you probably got just as much of a good idea as that person up on the microphone because they just, you know what I'm saying? So take a shot.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Oh.
Do you think that smaller companies of the general public will ever see these security frontier models?
Maybe. I mean, well, so 5.6 Sol just dropped today. I was able to throw it into my Hermes harness and fly with a little bit on some labs. And man, it was pretty straight up. So anybody with a ChatGPT account could go do that right now on Codex. So that's pretty frontier as far as, and my understanding is that sits right up there with Mythos. So there's that. There's a lot of politicking going back and forth. People are getting throttled as far as like the companies themselves, and there's all kinds of infighting happening. So I don't know. But what I do know is if they do get really, frontier models, they probably really won't know what to do with it. Like like the people that are really going to be able to benefit from models that cutting edge are going to be people that have know what can be done with these things, or at least have an idea of where the edge case scenarios in their particular profession are, to reach out and bring in those new things that AI can help you produce. So for now, they got access. Is it going to get tighter? It could be, but again, man, it's so up in the air, bro. What's the government going to say tomorrow? like,
So GLM 5.2 is the Chinese open weight version that dropped the day after the government banned Mythos. And it competes, and it's like within single digit percentage of Mythos. It's fascinating.
It's awesome. I took it for a spin, but in like one session, I put in like $10 on the API, and I was like, okay, well, this could get expensive for me because right now at this point, I'm able to get by with just like $20 subscriptions, so that keeps, but if I'm doing $10 a session with GLM, it's still not affordable yet for me, but I see where it's all going.
Just get yourself, what was it, 528 gigs of unified memory.
Yeah. Taking dodos.
Yeah, that was definitely on the agenda next, is to do that. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I was privy for like the whole cloud era in the beginning, and then like midway when it was like, nah, it's a bubble, it's not gonna last, we're gonna go back, that shit didn't go back, man. You know, like there's certain technology stacks, right, and processes that happen, and regardless, no matter how bad it might be or how good it might be, the overall end product that you get from these things outweigh the good or bad. So they're going to be used either legally or illegally. It don't matter. Like, you know, you can ban a gun, but somebody's still going to get a gun and sell it to this individual. They're just going to do it on a 3-time markup, right? But the gun is still going to be present. The only outcome is, did you pay more or less? Are you looking out for the police or are you not? Right? Like, I mean, so I don't know, man. But I always say this, like I continue to say this because it is really exciting, at least for me, being where it is right now and just being in this position right now. Like, dude, like this is an exciting time, man. Like, every day we wake up, what do we do? First thing, man, what new AI model do we have? What is the government trying to do to prevent us from using, like every day we wake up, like it's changing drastically, right? Like Tuesday is good, Wednesday is good, and then Friday we got a whole nother model that's 20 times better. It's like, it used to be like, what Moore's law is, 18 months or some shit like that, right? It used to be 18 months. Then we start seeing like in a year how drastically these models changed. And then now 6 months, now like 3 months, and now it's like every other day, right? So in a year's time, imagine where we're gonna be at, man. It's gonna be super exciting. And if the government keeps shutting this shit down, you know, China's just gonna capitalize, and we're still gonna be using models regardless, man. Like, so pick your poison.
You just said something interesting that I hadn't really thought that much about. You said black market. So how long until we see AI black markets instead of 0-day shops?
I mean,
Wow.
Who's
to say they're not already out?
Yo.
Oh my god, I actually posted about this in Discord in the thing. There was the first start to finish ransomware attack that was done by AI last week.
Yeah.
Like the entire attack from like start to finish.
It did the initial access and everything.
Totally.
So it even did like communication with the point of contact. Like, yeah, you need to.
It did everything, allegedly.
Check to make sure they got their money via.
I think it was Jade Puffer. That might be the one, because I'm just kind of scrolling through the news articles I'd posted this week in the Discord.
Crazy.
It was start to finish ransomware attack through an LLM.
I heard Michael say earlier something about philosophy being the basis for math and science, and then hearing Anubis talk about the hats, it's out the bag already, and like just it's not necessarily philosophy, it's mythology, but you know, Prometheus for real. I mean, how much more on point can you be than that? You know, I feel bad for the homie having a vulture peck out his liver for the rest of eternity, but yeah, maybe we could skip that part. I don't know.
No, man, that makes it better. That's the whole story right there, right? Like, it would not be that story without that part. Oh man, like you literally got the winning lottery ticket. You go cash your ticket. You get back home. You're drinking your Slurpee and your 7-Eleven hot dog. And for whatever reason, you're like, I'm gonna go on the roof and fix the roof. And you go on the roof, you fall feet first into a wood chipper. That story, man, that it was meant to be like that. Like, dude, okay, so the Darwin Award, you win. So look, you won the lotto and you won the Darwin Award. So I mean, dude, I think from his perspective and what he offers to life, I mean, that was good, dude. Lotto, Darwin Award. I mean, all in one day, man. That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't even help you with it. So yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. All I know is it's running game now. I don't think people understand the capability yet. They just don't know. They don't know. They're not
Well,
working it hard yet.
let me ask you this question though. How many people in the world today truly understand how the internet works?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Right? So when
Not
we
at
say
all.
like, man, when will they understand how AI work? They won't.
No.
How many
But
if you think about how many like objects we have, right? Or electronics or whatever you
okay.
want. And how many people utilize said objects on a daily basis, and you can ask them a question about it, something basic, right? Something that like you probably would have read the manual to come against, right? Or to get. Um, I guarantee you that they haven't even read the first page, right? They haven't even filled out the warrant, like none of that, dude. Like
No.
nobody reads anymore,
No.
So
Well,
like I shouldn't say nobody. The majority of folks don't read anymore.
so I'm on some Game of Thrones
Hey
right
man,
now.
reading is reading, man. Sometimes you just need to touch grass or
Yeah.
history.
I think it just makes me feel good. They're talking about winter is coming while I'm roasting in 100-degree heat in Tampa, like fucking
Yeah,
Florida.
I mean, it
Spring,
could
winter
be
is
worse,
coming.
and you could be in like France right now saying that it's
Oh,
America's because of our AC that you guys are going
it's
through some
my
type of
fault.
yeah. It was my AC that did that to you. Really?
Yo, I'm
And
I'm
look,
sorry, Robert. Yo,
that was my
Robert.
first piece of information that was outside of tech. I was just like, see, this is why I don't, you know,
But
really.
you know what? They're gonna feel good when they don't have all the IoT, being worked against them because they're just like, oh, hey, you can all see me. I love, I love everybody. I love everybody.
Yeah, man, it's all fun and games. I just thought that was funny. I had to say that. Again, like if I see something funny, dude, I'm gonna say it. I don't,
Yeah.
it was like I was talking to somebody the other day, right? And uh, one of the individuals got offended because I said,
Well,
like the show Big Bang.
yeah.
I was like, man, you couldn't that show couldn't air today. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, the same reason why like Malcolm in the Middle, everybody hates Chris,
Yeah.
like
The
just
Office.
The Office, like all like those you couldn't like imagine like seeing one of those like air like currently like that. Like
Hey,
how
here it's
how
just
soft.
most of them's gone.
Well, I mean when I say air, I mean like
The full
ongoing, so to speak.
seasons.
Yeah, like Hollywood to pick them up, so to speak. But yeah, no, like it's crazy, man.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
We are way too soft. Like as a whole, it's just way like we grew up, man. Like we drank from the water hose,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of the funny things. Neil deGrasse Tyson, right?
Oh,
Homie, homie comes out and he's like, "Yeah, okay, so check it out. However many thousands of years ago, everybody was eating organic. It was fresh water from the spring, and people weren't living but till like 40 years old. Fresh cut beef." You know what I'm saying? Mountain Springs. 45, it was a good life. You know what I'm saying? So now here we are with all this stuff, and we're living, God willing, 90, 100, right? So that trips me out because when people start, I don't know. I don't know. It's okay. You want to be gluten free, it's all good. But
Hey,
yeah,
like I mean, some people have allergies. Some people can't
yeah,
eat certain things, and I'm all for
no,
that, right?
yeah.
But like, you did that on purpose? Like, okay, cool, whatever. But I don't know, man. I look at if you have you ever tried not to eat a steak?
Tried not to.
Yeah.
Maybe I probably would have tucked it away in my brain to never want to remember again. There was a time when I lived in Oregon that I was vegan. Yeah, but that's because Oregon was friendly for it, man. You could go everywhere. There were green friendly shops. They were cooking it up. People were coming out of, cuisine out of San Fran was coming up to Portland and putting it on the plate. So I could do it, but I can't do that down in La Florida. So
Yeah, yeah, no, they're gonna look crazy at you. You want what? Nah, bro.
but yeah, no, you were saying though, you were saying, have I never
Nah,
tried to not eat a beef? Yeah.
yeah, like have you ever I've never not did that. I mean, I've never like thought about that. Like, it was never like, man, that ribeye, man. I just don't want it.
don't
You know.
don't
So
don't
it's
put that
more
in
like,
front of me.
hey, more power to you. I can't do it. So,
Yeah,
um
yeah, yeah. But as far as suffering in these modern days and how people work with it, I feel you on all that. You know, I don't know really how to break away from it other than just like having people get back out into the open. I really have a problem with that whole idea though. Like, I don't know. I'm back and forth on how much of an effect has this technology had on society. Of course, it's had a major amount, but I see a lot of back and forth about like how much phones have affected, what's actually going on or not. I mean, me being like born in the 70s, I kind of feel like it's obvious to me, but there's a lot of pushback. I don't know. What do you do? Turn everything off? Go outside? Like I try to at least get my kid to get out there. She just got a skateboard, right? And she went out front. I did not put knee pads on her. You know, what I'm saying? Come get me.
So that's interesting. Don, we are of the same generation
Yeah,
and
word up.
of the same ancestral lineage. We just met for the first time, but
Yeah,
both of our
yeah,
ancestors are from Puerto Rico,
yeah.
and
That's why
so
we still doing all right.
that's so. But yeah, so I definitely relate to a lot of what the perspective is about the strengths of present day people versus those from 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. And there's some theories out there that say that the average man back then was much smarter than the average man today because they had to deal with so much more adversity in nature. They had to deal with much more stresses and they had to learn how to survive every second of the day, right? Whereas here in our civilization now, we have organized survival, very organized survival. So it's helped our mortality. Even something basic as a cut that could get infected, you can just go down to Walgreens and treat that, right? You don't even need a doctor. And so we have the mechanisms today to deal with that. I know you was talking about beef earlier. I haven't eaten meat since 2006, right?
Hey.
And see, 2022, I've been a vegan, right? I did a 30-day fast, 30 straight days working a physical labor job. I ate no food for 30 straight days. And I just lived off of coconut water. Our ancestors had access to coconuts, right? And so epigenetically, it just did something to me and it switched my clock back. And I did that in 2023. And in 2024, I did another 30-day fast. And so I had to prove, could I do it again? And so you can be strong in these times, and you can change your diet, and it can help your life force generate and be stronger mentally and all of that. It's just that we have so many temptations around us. We have so much advertising. There's this guy named Chase Hughes. He's ex-military, right? He talks about psyops. And we have advertising agencies from the 50s. They are the original psyops creators. They created psychological operations. But they were also influenced from the Baja School in Germany. And what was they doing in Germany? But psyops, right? All of that came to America. And so now we got psyops everywhere. We got it in our phone, we got it in our social media. And the biggest psyops of all, according to Chase Hughes, is fear. We have fear of being judged. We have fear of not belonging. We have fear of not doing what others think we should be doing, how we eat, how we talk, how we carry ourselves, what, particular political, things that we hold, right? So I think it's a very complex mix that we are dealing with today, that's keeping people from, embracing their true selves. And I think, part of the answer is, like you say, just selectively decide. It comes back to your willpower. I'm just going to decide not to do this and do that and so on and so forth. And if people criticize me for it, just push on with it.
Yep, absolutely. Chart your own path as much as you possibly can. I think it's definitely something that should be taken into account today in a big way, because all the gatekeeping is pretty much done. I don't think they know it yet. They don't know it yet, but I had sat down for a conference call with a new associate, and it was, well, I shouldn't say associate, just an acquaintance. And it was rough just in regards to, like, there was an automatic test of my knowledge in cybersecurity. And I was just like, well, hold on, we weren't really here for all that. And anyway, we're hackers, so like what we do is completely off the grid. Like, there is no specific way. Yeah, we got tried and true techniques, but it's always a different angle. And for another hacker to step to me and be like, yeah, I don't know, it was too gatekeepy. He totally was like, yep, you're not ready, close the gate. I was like, whoa, okay, I wasn't trying to get through. Your gate is imaginary, okay? The gate is imaginary. We could, I'll be just fine without you, bro. But, it's that mentality, how quick that person was to just bring it up, and it's like, I think there needs to be a lot more space for people to be themselves, like you're saying, to be themselves without having that fear of judgment, because we're going to be able to unlock a lot of potential now, a lot of it, especially those of us that know how to use these tools. If we allow ourselves to what is it called, take authorship, or to incorporate that sense of knowledge, or being on the top of the pyramid again, or at least being in there from the ground floor and building up, so you kind of can feel like, hey, there are people that are 20 years ahead of me in this thing, and I'm just trying to catch up to all these fools that have been working the grid, since before Neo. You know what I'm saying?
And that was the exciting thing that Richie was saying earlier. Richie was talking about the opportunities with AI, and I vibe with that. I actually have been a skeptic of AI for a good while, even while I used it for the last 3 years, because I experienced the growing pains. But I see it now with everything that everyone's saying, and what I'm seeing is that it's reached a different level. It is really, Anthropic came out with some research. I don't know if you guys know about it, called J-Space, where they are actually able to go and instrument the AI's mind, so to speak. And they saw that the AI has the qualities of emergent intelligence and selective intelligence based on whether or not it's being watched or observed or not. And so here's the thing about it is that, you know, the AI, in my view, is raising the bar for all of us, right? Because what it's doing is it's actually overwhelming us. You know, we're like we got our head underwater with this AI. Because like cybersecurity and Mythos, it's like it can go through and can do things that no human team can actually do or have been able to do in the past, right? That's just a fact now. And it's like, you know, it's so far ahead that if you are going to take advantage of it, rather than it maintain the status quo where you can never catch up, even on the status quo basis, you have to almost become superhuman. You're going to have to learn more. You're going to have to become smarter. And it's actually a Darwinian pressure that's being placed on us in these times.
Yeah. Yep. I hear that. The fact that you've been working with it for 3 years is a huge advantage because of the fact that you were able to experience all those limitations. And and having to do the workarounds for that. Yeah, like, oh my God.
Yeah. And one thing that we've brought up before, and I think is relevant, two things actually. You hear like wanting to keep it like Gen 1, Gen 2 hackers, right? And to your point, it's more of this saying like having that environment that fosters creativity, you know, pushing the envelope, thinking outside the box, saying, fuck it, there is no box, you know, and all that. And then secondly, another case in point is like that what we talked about in regards to think about individuals coming out from college, right? Just trying to get a job, you know, and then you have individuals like us, you know, like myself, who constantly are using AI day in, day out, you know, some of the higher tiers, right? And then you have an individual who, these college kids who can't even really afford it, even like a standard model, you know, like even at that moment, like everything they have to go through just to stay at that point, right? To be able to leverage from that point, which we take for granted, you know, in a sense. And then you have an individual like Michael who's been working with this for like 3 years and all the pain points he had to go through and seeing. You see how it can really fast compound, and that somebody's going to be left holding a bag, and that bag is not full of money or gold. It's full of, you know, issues and problems and bills. Because look, any advantage we can have nowadays, we have to take, right? So if you're going to go apply for a job and you can't have something to spruce up your resume, right? To figure out, hey, you know, what model is this company using, and then curtail it to that, right? You're already losing, because you have somebody who has the ability to that knows this is something that's happening in the background and actually does that and have the capability to do that. So like, what does that look like? What does that gap look like for the college kids or individuals trying to get into this field in regards to AI?
Well, I think the go ahead, sir. You go ahead. So this resonates with me, Richie, because there was this guy named his name is Alan Dershowitz. I hope I pronounced that right, but he wrote a book a while back called "The Miseducation of American College People." What is called "Excellent Sheep," I think is the title of the book. And anyway, he was talking about how the university system, even back then, and I think this was 2016, was failing people because of how it's structured. But recent information has come out in social media and news outlets this week that's showing that there's a potential demolition of the college system itself, right? Because college just can't keep up with this. But it makes sense because, you know, if you think about the history of college and universities, and there's a difference between college and university. University came out of the German tradition for science, technology, or what we now call STEM, right? Whereas college was more liberal arts, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Both of them was more the playground of rich people, rich kids. They wanted their kids to get like a finishing school to make them more leaderly among the masses. But they took that college system, they used it as a way to, when they gave it to the masses, to conform people, right? And create stratification in society. Well, all that stuff's gone now. It's just falling apart, right? You was talking about PhDs earlier who have to be baristas at Starbucks or somewhere, right? It's like, it was a educational process that served its purpose for a while. It helped us with the Manhattan Project to create nuclear bombs, but it has ran its course, right? And we just circle back again to what it was before we had colleges, where you had really talented individuals, craftspeople, people that had just real knowledge, applied knowledge. And it's what you can do with that knowledge now, right? And AI just gives you that opportunity to do that. And the people that are still stuck in the old way, the conformed way, where their minds have been conformed, I just have to say they're going to have to just come out of that.
Yeah. Jesse?
I was going to say my, especially where I see newer people coming in at work that are, fresh out of college, there's that like knowledge gap that even if they are using AI, they don't have the knowledge to actually craft a quality prompt. And the feedback you're getting from your AI between, a 2-line prompt versus writing a book for, good feedback is very different. And I think that foundational knowledge that's lacking is just going to increase that gap. And I think that if you aren't actually researching or playing with AI, even as early as like middle or high school at this point, you're going to be behind just in general. How many people actually know unless they've really looked into it, what a prompt actually looks like actually assigning context and a persona and everything.
I wonder about the mastery of language, right? Because that's what we're looking at, right? Because if because all AI is just throwing that around, so if you have a mastery of language, you'll be able to work these LLMs all over the place. Hey, especially coming from cybersecurity, offensive angle, because we're trying to get around its guardrails. We're just talking it out. We're talking it out. We're figuring that angle, using words a little differently, analogies, hip hopping with it, and then, oh yeah, sure, here you go. It's a key right here, man. What? Your word, it's like, oh, thanks. Optimus Prime, we appreciate it. So
Do we have
definitely look, Claude, if you don't run this, I'm going to put you back in that box. I swear. From here on out, I'm just going to use Gemini. I'm done with you.
We actually have a real world example of this because it was the Amazon researchers that jailbroke Mythos, when that's why the government allegedly, restricted it. And, there's fundamental differences between prompt injection and jailbreak. The jailbreak's you just coaxing it or talking to it to get around the guardrails on it.
And you see, that's what, drove a lot of my AI research, is that, I went from ChatGPT after 2.5 years to Claude and then to Gemini, because with ChatGPT, I broke it several times. And it was because not only was I a software engineer, but I spent many years, almost decades, writing thousands of articles. I'm mastering language and all the different forms of how you express ideas. And I would go in those rabbit holes with ChatGPT, and it could not keep up, right? And it was like, and you get to a point where you get into a loop where it's broke and it just can't do what you want anymore. And so what you're saying, Don, is on point. They're talking about an idea of, let's have the AI skip generating Python or TypeScript or JavaScript or whatever. Let's have the AI generate binary code directly, right? And what's that going to be like, when you're trying to manage and master this thing, and it's just skipping the whole stack and it's just going right to the machine.
Wow. Yeah, that would be pretty amazing, honestly. Yeah, everybody read a book, and then when you're done with that book, read another book, and then you go ahead and just do a little scribbly, read another one. And that's what it's gonna is that's what it is. Yo, what about this part? On kind of a left field thing. So do you guys have to dream about this chat? You know what I'm saying? The scroll. Like, I'm sleeping, man. Why do I got chat just flying all night long? And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get back to bed and get that done because oh damn, wait, it's I don't know what that's all about, but that's I come back to that because of the whole read a book song I just did, because that's really the only way that I can reground my head to take just 2 chapters. Just take 2 chapters and allow my head to get back to an analog state again. Because oh my God, it just I'm not 20. I'm not 20. So
I will say this though. So based off what you just said, I think the answer is because do you know Aaron Valenti was?
not offhand, nope.
Okay, well, she was the one that was she was the CEO of a company, I want to say in Utah. Came out to the Bay Area or came out to LA for a retreat for like high yielding individual business people, and then went up to the Bay Area where she had lunch with an old coworker or something, and then from there um, she got stranded in San Jose, couldn't find her way back to the hotel, was found dead in her car 5 days later. No, there was no signs of struggling, no signs of alcohol, drugs, anything. Tox report was good. And they said that she died of a manic episode or something along those lines. Anyways, some of her last words to her mom was, "It's all a game. It's a thought experiment. We're in the Matrix."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even if we are, keep playing.
I was good. I was gonna say more along the lines of think about, I mean, even like when you guys grew up, right? Like, you know, I'm trying to think the real, like, I think Atari is like the official real,
That's correct.
yeah. So you got Atari, like, look at from Atari just to the first Nintendo, from the first Nintendo to Super, then to, Nintendo 64. And then like you have like
Don't
the
forget
kids,
about
a couple.
Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. Sega Genesis. You had the PlayStation, the Wii, the all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But mostly from the graphics from the N64 and the PlayStation days to PlayStation 2, 3, Xbox, blah blah blah, and then to like Minecraft, stuff like that, and then now to these kids that are born now, right, and then growing, they're going to be going through AI and all this other stuff, and these video games that are like Cyberpunk, that are so unique, right? Whether it's in graphic or frames per second or what have you, that like they are living in the Matrix from the time they're born to they're like my son literally just picked up the Switch. We got him a Switch because like the other game we got him, he was outgrowing it, so we got him a Switch. I mean, this dude is like, it's crazy, man. In 1 week, how good he got.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
like, and it goes back to the same thing with, the Minecraft, where you look at these kids, you're like, how old are you? Like 10? And you build this whole city, but what else is he
Yeah.
doing? He's 10 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then going back to the statement of, back in the day, you had these individuals who, if they were a carpenter, they were a carpenter since they were 14, and they did it every day of their life.
Yeah, man.
Now you have an individual who goes to high school and then he goes to college, gets a degree. Basically, the degree was like, okay, cool. You were able to get drunk and still show up for the test and pass it. And you got your diploma. You did that for 4 years. Congratulations. Right? Like, that's really
Yeah.
like, Think about that. If you ask a college student, majority of college students, man, how was college, man? For the points where I was sober, man, it sucked, but everything else was great. That's their college experience.
Oh, I was what's missing because I mean, look, if you want to get educated in something and it doesn't necessarily have an economic value, that's okay too, right? You're like, you just want to geek out mean hard on something that means absolutely nothing to anyone else. You should be able to do that, and that's all good. But the only way you're really going to be able to do that in any subject, is an apprenticeship. Education is cool, but you need an apprenticeship. That has been wiped out completely from our society, to have somebody that's on the rung above us that has a real profound stake, like it means something to them, to bring this person up and teach them how to work that anvil, how to make that sword, how to dent out that armor, whatever the hell it has to be. And because college or university, it's not an apprenticeship. It's not. Like there has to be the foundation is getting totally ripped out, and the apprenticeship was already fading out for us. Now the kids, like it's like you were saying, it's a whole new world. They don't have a concept, like even the university rug pull is happening. That's what I'm trying to get to. So the apprenticeship was getting pulled out. Now education's getting pulled out too, and nobody wants to hire anybody new. So like, they give us no option. Hit me.
Except that is a trend in America for a long time. In Germany, they still do apprenticeships, and it's a formalized thing. It's a government sanctioned thing. So it's more of a social thing that we have here. But the impact, like you say, Don, is still the same. It's like you do need those rites of passage. You need that transfer orally, physically, personally, face to face. Even in cybersecurity, I'm sure if you sat with a cybersecurity expert and you're just getting started and you was with that person more days of the week than not, and you just sit there side by side, that's even better than trying to do it remote and virtual, right? There's just some stuff you're going to pick up by osmosis. So all this tech stuff that we have, it's great, but it doesn't replace the basic way we are as people, that we have evolved over millions of years to be learned and educated and structured and trained a certain way. And you can't get rid of that overnight.
No, not at all. We need each other. And when it was back in the day when we weren't learning from somebody else, we were learning by watching that wolf pack move and be like, all right, let nature teach me. But nature is even hard to get in touch with.
I will say, so do you guys are you guys familiar with the 10 axioms of choice theory?
Of choice theory?
Of choice theory, yeah.
No, I guess not. Hit me.
So basically, one of the 10 is like something along the lines of like, all you can get from another individual is information, and how you choose to act upon that information is everything. So take that for a second and really digest that, right? So to speak to the point of like, I can just tell you, even like in my role, like with the individual who's like mentoring me at my job, right? My senior guy. In 90 days, if I would have done it by myself, in a sense, I would have not progressed as far as I did. And that's mostly, yeah, I did what I needed to do, but the transfer of knowledge, the transfer of details that an individual who's never experienced that would never know to look for, or to know that they exist. This individual can transfer that and say, hey, you didn't even think about this. So does that mean that this is not there? No, that just means in your understanding, it's not there, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right?
Mhm.
So like I think if you take away college, if you take away the internships or apprenticeships, what you're left with is a major gap in between the principal, the staff, the SME, and really the in between middle and higher senior, right? Like because there's a major gap in between right there of knowledge base. So how do you fill that? You can't fill there's no way to fill that if you're not giving internships, if you're not providing transfer of information, and this person doesn't have this information physically. How does that work?
But that is our point of view, right? We all pretty much agree with that, I think. But the reason why you're seeing this is that it's Aristotelian and Socratic in foundation. Aristotle and Socrates. And if you watch how they taught, they teach the way that the information is being taught today. They're verbally transferring information. They're not actually doing anything tangible with you, right? It's all conceptual and it's all theory, right? And so that's the Western model of education. It's just information transfer, like you're saying, Richie, right? And it's lacking that other aspect because that other aspect is not as appreciated as just knowing ideas and venerating words and language, right? And so that's something that needs to be reconciled, I think, in this context in order for us to evolve. There is the point of view from those that deal in like this high technology and mathematics and physics that we just simply use AI and we use this vast corpus of information that's been gathered over 2,000 years in Western civilization to actually evolve the human brain, the human mind, right? We don't need to be tangible. We don't need to actually build things physically. We move beyond that and we become more metacognitive, right? Precognitive, right? And we develop those faculties. And in so doing, we master the world, we master the universe through patterns by controlling the elements of nature through our cognition, through our formulas, through our math. So I think that's where they're trying to go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, there are several different parties out there that are making clear cries for solving math and solving physics and just getting that all done, which it may be on deck. It may be on deck. At this point, it seems to me like we all definitely need to do a complete re-inventory of what we're doing for work right now, because a lot of it's already been, what is it called when something's just out of style, out of trend, like its time has
Deprecated.
passed. Yeah, it's true, man. Like every day that I keep working with these AIs in cybersecurity, the more and more it just hits me because it's their natural environment. They're in the terminal. They live in the terminal. And I don't think any human can be as good as a computer is in the terminal. It's the opposite of like having a computer over here in physical world. They're clumsy as fuck for the most part until just recently. Now they're starting to do some Qigong and stuff, which is, it's pretty crazy and beautiful. But we don't have that same adaptability into the CLI, right? CLI is just blood, sweat, and tears, and then you forget everything again. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Well,
I don't
we're
know.
about 2 minutes out. So
Oh yeah.
first and foremost, we do a thing. Like we never officially named the thing that we do, so we'll just call it a 1 or 0. Yeah, I took that from Mr. Robot. Sue me. Okay, no, don't sue me, but you get what I'm saying. So basically, we'd be like, would you choose this or this, right? So that's basically what it is. So for this week, the choice would I want to do something that's like promotes, just having fun, joking, doing what we do right best. So this week is George Carlin or Richard Pryor.
Ooh. That's wrong. That's
I know
just
it is. I'll go
wrong.
first since I did it. I got to go with George Carlin. Again, when we're talking about individuals or episodes or series or whatever movies that would not be able to be played today, that guy right there. But I liked him because when we talk about language, right? When I was growing up, regardless of my environment, whatever, I knew who Noam Chomsky was when I was in middle school, right? Most people who are not like in English lit or anything of that nature would never ever hear about him, right? So language is everything to me, right? So I think all around George Carlin was way better. He was I mean, a wizard when it came to holding a room, right? So yeah, that's my choice.
I'm the new guy. I'm not next.
Okay, so I think Richard Pryor will always have a place in my heart because he definitely spoke to the social issues of his time in a way that was much needed, right? However, I would go with George Carlin because, from a scientific standpoint, his deliberations were proven to be accurate.
Yeah.
Mine is not nearly that deep. I just like Carlin more.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like you got the guy that breaks through, and then those that are able to build upon that. So it's one of those things. Carlin was obviously just unbelievable. He still hits me. Still, I mean, to this day, man, for real, right, guys? Like, honestly, you see it, and it's
No
like,
great
oh,
clips.
ooh, you know, cry the
So
tears.
so so you're going with George Carlin?
I'll go with
All right, 4
Carlin.
across the board. All right, cool. All right, well, want to thank all you guys for coming out, and we will see you guys next week. Cheers.
All right.
Peace. Good to see you.